Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the classroom. It's Mr. Low, and today we are going to discuss on the pre-WA2 paper that you have just did. Alright, I believe I have written it to you on Friday, and you should have received your paper through your classmates. Okay, and you can see what are the mistakes that you have made. So I'm gonna go through this paper, and please do your corrections. Now, this is a wake-up call for all of you. Most of you, I would say. Uh, a lot of you didn't pass at all. Some didn't even score a single mark. You know, uh, I would say that yeah, please pay attention, all right, because the real weighted assessment will be pretty similar to this. Perhaps a little bit, a little bit more difficult. Okay, so please take more attention on this explanation and do your corrections properly. All right. If okay, let's begin. So for the very first question, this kind of question I would say is might be a little bit challenging for some of you, but actually it's very easy. All you have to do is to translate English language into mathematics. So you're gonna be very careful about the words that they use. Okay. So why is this part important? Because um we really sometimes we need to communicate our mathematics through English language, right? We write down something, we're gonna read out what we are writing, so yeah, this is the way that we need to communicate with each other. Okay, so let's take a look at how to do this kind of question. Now I would suggest that as you read each sentence, start to highlight and annotate at the top. I don't see a lot of you doing that. Like I only see less than 5 of us doing this. So please pick up the habit. I can nag 1,000 times. If you're not gonna do it, nothing is gonna change. So let's get right to it. Part one, add a to the square root of b. Okay, so first thing I'll do is add, means plus, everybody knows. Okay, so we are adding this item called a to the square root of b. So what is this guy here? What is this square root of b? Well, if you remember, square root looks like this. Okay, and square root of b simply is this. So what are we adding? We're adding a to this guy here. Okay, now I think a couple of you made a careless mistake in the sense that you did not see the word root, so you simply went to add a to the square of b. So this is where really highlighting and circling things really make a big difference. Please do so in the future. This type of questions is free marks. I would really call it free marks because it's so easy. Please grab all these marks, it's free. Okay, now add a to square root b, right? Square root of b is just square root b. So answer simply a plus square root b. And here we go, a plus square root b. Really not difficult, really not difficult. I don't understand why some of you are not getting it still. All right, next, subtract. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same procedure. Please follow suit. Okay, please do as I do. Subtract minus the product. Okay, now product is times. Okay, so it's a times or multiply. Product of what? Subtract the product of what? Between y and z. Okay, so I'm interested in the product of y and z. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to really break down very clearly. Subtract what from what? I'm going to see this as a bunch. Product of y and z from 10x. Okay, so I'm going to minus something from something, right? So let's take a look. What do we mean by product of y and z first? Well, it's nothing but, sorry, it's nothing but y times z. Okay, now in algebra, when we are multiplying two letters, two unknowns together, we don't need, and we usually do not write the multiplication sign in between. So yz is simply, sorry, y times z is simply yz. Okay, y times z is simply yz. Okay, so what are we subtracting? We're subtracting yz, which is this big green box, yz, from 10x. So this is when you need to remember what does this from means. Okay, now there's really no shortcut to doing this. From subtract yz from 10x. 10x minus yz. I think a couple of you went to do the other way around, yz minus 10. This is still acceptable. But if you're not getting anywhere close to this, please redo your questions in the notes. Please redo the question in the notes that is similar to this. Okay, you really need to get the language properly. Moving on. Okay, so the first word that I see is divide. So I'm going to write down the divide sign. Okay, the divide what by what usually is, usually is a triangle over square, right? You divide triangle by square. So I need two items here. Divide what by what? So I'm going to box up the um the first item, the cube of w by 16. Okay, so we're going to divide this thing called cube of w by the number 16. What is cube? Cube is power 3. If it's a square, it is power 2. So this cube of w is simply w to the power of 3. Okay, so I'm going to just divide w to the power of 3 by 16. Done. I think a couple of you did not see the word cube. Okay, so you kind of missed it out. So here you go. Divide the cube of w by 16. Or if you've written this, both are fine. So it's really not difficult. You really have to stare at the sentence, see how I do it. Okay. For example, let me let me summarize that again. First, look at the first operation, the first word, right? The first operation that comes in the sentence. That's what you're gonna do overall. Now, whenever you do an operation, is between two items or more. So for instance, I add A to B. There are two items here, A and B. I need to add them up together. So your task is to go and look at the rest of the sentence to figure out what are the two items, sometimes even more. Right? So in this case, the first item in part A I'm looking at is, the first item is A, and the second item is this square root of B. Okay, so I have found my two items. But what does each item mean? You've got to figure out for yourself. All right, moving on. Now, given that A is -5, so when I see negative, I need to be alert. Okay, I need to be alert. This is a negative number. Okay, and B is 3, positive 3. Okay, evaluate each of the following expressions. At the end of the day, what this kind of questions, what does it mean? You're gonna give me, for instance, part A, right? A squared equals to 4B equals to a number. Okay, at the end of the day, it's a number. It shouldn't have any more letters remaining. So how am I going to do this? Okay, what is A? A is -5. I'm going to plug in here. B is 3. I'm just going to plug in here. Okay, so following that, A is -5. So here is when the bracket makes a lot of difference. Recall, and I said this 10,000 times. I don't know how many of you actually remembered the difference between this and this. Pardon? What is the difference? Okay, if you cannot remember, please ask around or text me. You better know this. This comes from chapter 2, I believe, from negative numbers. Right? And it also applies to algebra. All right. So if you're not too sure, you can text me and ask, or you can simply press your calculator, because the bracket makes a huge difference when you're doing your calculations and when you press your calculator. So please be careful. A is -5, so the square applies to both the negative sign and the 5. So the square here applies to both guys over here. All right, so please be careful. Right, next, minus 4b. Well, b is 3, right? A is -5, right? So I'm just going to write this above, 4b. Okay, yeah. So what does it equals to? Press your calculator and you get 13. So simple. Again, another type of free marks. B minus A, I think most of you got it. Okay, so I'm going to write above B minus A. So A is -5. Your bracket makes a difference. I repeat, I should not be saying something like this. This doesn't make sense at all. Please have your brackets in. Okay, so next, press your calculator and you should get 8. This one, I think some of you get it. Okay, it's relatively easy. So you should get your answer. Next question. Okay, simplify the following expressions. Remember the difference between expressions and equation. Expression has got no equal sign. Okay, no equal sign here. As opposed to, for instance, right, 5x plus 22 minus 6x plus 23, for instance, equals to 10. Now, this is an equation because of the equal sign, right? In this case here, there is no equal sign. This is just an expression. So please be careful. Now, we want to simplify, okay? So means this thing is too long. We want to make it shorter, simplify a bit, make it simple. So you realize that, okay, there are x terms over here as well as constant terms here. Okay, if you don't remember what does it mean by constant, please revise your algebra. Okay, there are a few terms that you need to know. The variable. Okay, what does a variable mean? What does a coefficient mean? And what does a constant mean? Please go and revise all these three. All right, next. So all you got to do in this case, we've been practicing quite a bit. We just got to group all these terms with the variable together. Where is the working for a? Okay, since there's no working here, I'm going to write it below. Okay, so 5x. So 5x plus 22 minus 6x. Please take note of the sign, plus 23. Okay, I think most of you got it over here. So I'm gonna group all the x terms together. Now, some of you got a bit confused when I move things around because I see some of you doing something like this. Okay, some of you doing this notation over here. Now, there's kind of nothing wrong with it, but please be careful when you need to change signs, when you do not need to change signs. Okay, to avoid confusion, I'm going to remove all this annotation that you have done before. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do it properly first before I address the problem. Now, so I'm just going to group all the x terms together. In this case, 5x minus 6x. Okay, then I'm going to group all the numbers, the constants together. Sorry, I copied the question wrongly, did I? No. Okay, so just going to put them together, plus 22 plus 23. Right, the sign does not change. I'm just carrying the signs over. 5x minus 6x is negative x. Okay, 5 minus 6 is negative 1. So 5x minus 6x is negative x plus 22 plus 23, 45. Okay, not too difficult. Not too difficult. All right, and you have the answer, x negative x plus 45, or you can write 45 minus x is also the same. Okay, at this point in time, I need to address when is it that you need to change signs when I move things around. When do you not need to change signs? When is an expression. Okay, wait, pardon. When it's an expression, no need to change sign. When it's an equation, need to change sign if you're moving across the equal sign. Okay, what do I mean by that? Let me show you one simple example. Please take this down somewhere, either in the notes or besides in this practice paper. Okay, for instance, I have 2x plus 3 plus 3x. All right, now this is similar to what we have over here. This is an expression. This is an expression because there is no equal sign. Okay, now I add in my own equal sign. Well, because I need to simplify this. Now, when it's an expression, I need to so-called I group these two terms together, right? So some of you actually like sort of like drew an arrow to tell yourself that okay, I need to group these two things together. So I'm moving the 3x to the besides 2x. Now in this case, because I'm not moving across any equal sign, there's no equal sign in between here, there is no need to change the sign. 2x plus 3x. The sign in front of the 3x, it remains. Okay, so plus 3, right? So this one simple, we can simplify to 5x plus 3. Okay, so I'm not moving things across any equal sign. It is completely fine. But if it's in the case of an equation, I need to change the sign. If I move things across the equal sign, what do I mean by that? Same example, 2x plus 3 plus 3x. Now let's say this is equals to 5. Now this is an equation because of the equal sign. There is an equal sign given in the question, not something that you add in. Now, again, on the left hand side, let's just look at the left hand side. Yeah, we know that we need to group these two terms together. Okay, so let me do that first. Same thing, 2x plus 3x plus 3 equals to 5. Now, remember I said something, when you're doing this equation, you need to throw all the variables to one side, particularly the left hand side, and all the constants to the right hand side of the equation. Okay, so here I need to throw this plus 3 over. Now, I'm throwing the plus 3 over this equal sign. Can you see that? I'm moving the plus 3 over the equal sign. Therefore, there is a need to change sign. This is the difference. Plus 3 becomes minus 3. Can you see that? Plus 3 becomes minus 3 because I move it across the equal sign. This is when you need to change signs. Okay, so repeat again. This 3x, when I move it over, no change in sign because I did not move across an equal sign. 5x equals to 2. X equals to 2 over 5. Can you see the difference between equation and expression? For an expression, we are not able to get a particular value for x. All we can do is simplify, right, into another expression that is simpler. But for an equation, you are able to get a value for the variable x in this case. So therefore, in the type of question that you see for expression, usually we see the word simplify, okay, or factorize, okay, for the case of expressions. For equations, because our aim is to get a value of x for the end of the day, the word that you see is solve. Solve the following equation. When we say solve means we want to get a value of x at the end of the day. I hope this is clear enough for you. If not, please revise your work. Moving on. For part B, okay, again, this is still simplifying expression. Therefore, I say the word simplify over here. Simplify the expression. Okay. Here, this one, I think a lot of you don't really know what to do. When you see a bracket in the expression and a number or something else put in front of the bracket, it is understood that this part means -3 times 2u minus 5. Okay, it is understood. That is a times in between. So when you see a bracket, your immediate action is to open up the bracket, so-called open up the bracket. All right. Now, how do I open up the bracket? In case you cannot remember, something is very wrong. Rainbow method. Okay. I don't need to repeat so many times. Now, when you rainbow in, please do not just rainbow in the 3. Carry the sign in together, the whole thing as a package. You're going to rainbow in -3 into the bracket. Okay, so for the very first the very first rainbow, negative 3 times 2u, negative 6u. Okay, negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15. Henceforth, you have this expression at the bottom. Okay, for u remains, of course. Don't forget your for u. Okay, for u minus 6u plus 15. Okay, now next thing, simplify further, because you see there is for u, there is minus 6u. Okay, for u minus 6u is simply negative 2u, 15 remains over here, plus 15, and you're done. Okay, so this is testing you on the rainbow method, or in proper terms, it's called the distributive law. All right, moving on. Solve. You see the word solve here. So you see that this is all equations. Okay, this is all equations here. And how do I know that? Because I see an equal sign in between. All right. Okay. So solve means what? What does it mean by solve? Means at the end of the day, I want to have x equals to something. X equals to a particular number. Okay. So let's try. Okay. So 9x plus 4 equals to 31. Remember, I said I want to keep all the variables, in this case only this term on the left hand side, and I want to throw all other constant terms, in this case plus 4y, over to the other side of this equal sign. So when I'm throwing things across the equal sign, I need to change the sign, sorry. So the question skip a step. The working here, they skip a step. When I throw the plus 4 over the equal sign, so 9x remains equals to 31, plus 4 becomes minus 4. Plus 4 becomes minus 4. Okay, so 31 plus 4, you have 27. Okay, so from here to here, x equals to 27 over 9. And you have 3. Done. Also very simple. You really should be getting all these marks. Okay, next. Okay, so this is when things get a little bit complicated, because you see that your variable is on two sides of the equation. Okay, now so let's see how you're gonna do this. When you see a bracket, okay, your immediate action is to open up the bracket by doing your rainbow method. Okay, so 6 times x, 6x, 6 times plus 2 plus 12. Okay, so this is your first mark. When you open up the bracket by rainbow method, you get your first mark. Next, again, when I want to solve, I need to throw all the variables to one side and all the constants to the other side. So in this case, in this working, the one who did the solution actually threw this minus 3x over to this side. Up to you. You can choose to throw this 6x over here, as we have been doing, throw all the x to the left hand side. It kind of doesn't matter. Up to you, right? So long as all the variables are on one side of the equal sign, the constants are on the other side. We are done. So here 3x throw over, and then the plus 12 throw over the equal sign. So there is a need to change the sign. So there's a step skipped over here. Let me do it in full. So 5 I did not touch. Okay, I'm moving plus 12 over. The equal sign becomes a minus 12. Okay, so equal sign here. My minus 3x over here, when I move over, becomes a plus 3x. So it's 6x plus 3x. Okay, so therefore we have negative 7 equals to 9x, which is the same as this over here. It's the same, yeah? Okay, so x equals to negative 7 over 9. Another mark. It is so simple. Okay, if you still need help, please come and find me. Okay, moving on. Okay, word problem. Yes, understand the word problem is a bit difficult. So the usual thing that we should be doing is, as we read the question, we highlight and write down what we understand from the information given. How many of you are actually doing this? Not much. Really not much. You just read through the whole thing and you go blank. Then you start writing nonsense. Of course, it is expected. Please digest the question bit by bit. Okay, let's do this together. The price of a skirt is S dollars. Okay, so this one is understood, right? S dollars means we don't know what is the price, but we assign a letter S to represent the price of a skirt. Remember, for algebra, there's nothing to be scared of. At the end of the day, S is just a number. Just that now we don't know what it is. Later we will find out. Okay, so we treat S just like any number. Okay, the price of a t-shirt is 25 less than the price of a skirt. So $25 less. Okay, the t-shirt is $25 less. So what is the price? If the price of a skirt is S dollars, 25 less means minus 25. It is that simple. If I tell you instead, for instance, if I tell you instead of S, the price of a skirt is $50 and the t-shirt is $25 left, will you know how to do it? Of course you know. It is $50 minus 25, right? No difference. All right, the price of a t-shirt is $25 less minus 25. So 50 minus 25, right? Just that in this case, right, it is S dollars instead of $10. So it's S, so dollar sign S minus 25. Okay. Of course, I bracket it up because the dollar sign applies to both S and 25. Okay. Now, that's it. Write down an expression in terms of S. So you see the word expression here, okay, means there is no equal sign. Okay, it's not equals to something. It's just a expression involving the letter S. Okay. Actually, we have it already. See, an expression that involves the letter S. So we are done. Part A, we are asking for the price of t-shirt, the price of a t-shirt, because it's just one, equals to dollar sign S minus 25. So you see, as I read the question, when I do my annotation, I already have answers coming out already. Please do that, okay? Please do that. Next, part B, the total price of 3 skirts. Okay, so now you have to be careful. 3 skirts. Okay, so immediately actually I can write down already. Okay, because they're asking for the total price, so I can write down the price of 3 skirts. Each skirt is S dollars. So therefore, 3 skirts must be 3 times S dollars or 3S dollars. Okay, 3S. And how many t-shirts is that? Sorry, 8 t-shirts. Okay, 8 t-shirts over here. And we know the price of each t-shirt is over here. So it's 8 times of this. Okay, and the total price is 119. So that means if I add up the price of 3 skirts and 8 t-shirts, is totally $119. So you can kind of imagine already, right? If I use red color to represent the price of 8 t-shirts and blue color to represent the price of 3 skirts, you can imagine that this blue square plus red square equals to 119. So this is how you can help yourself to think. Okay, in simple terms, right? Okay, so here the question asks for form an equation. An equation means there must be an equal sign. See, immediately we have things ready, okay, to represent the above information, which is, the line, the total price of this plus this is 119. Okay, so immediately we have this already. The task then is to find how to write these two. Okay, so we're gonna follow this format here. 3S because of price of 3 t-shirts. We are done. Then the price of 8 t-shirts. Sorry, 3S is the price of 3 skirts. My bad. And I'm gonna add it plus price of 8 t-shirts. How do I know is this? Because each t-shirt is costing S minus 25. So 8 of those is 8 times bracket S minus 25 equals to 119. Okay, now some of you, actually this is sufficient. If you have this, you get the mark. Now some of you went to proceed to simplify the equation. Okay, so let me show you how you can simplify the part on the left hand side. Okay, now so 3s plus 8 times s minus 25, okay, equals to 119. So I'm just gonna work on the left hand side here. So you see again, you see a bracket. The first thing you should do is rainbow things in. Okay, so I'm carrying in positive 8. Yeah, positive 8. Positive 8 times s is plus 8s. Positive 8 times 25 is negative 200 equals to 119. Okay, now you can further simplify this because I see the two terms with the variable. So I'm gonna just add them up together to give me 11s minus 200 equals to 119. Okay, you can present this answer. This is also sufficient. This is also good. Okay, no problem. All right. So yeah. So the question ended off with this solution here, this equation over here. Next, the part 2 asks you to solve the equation that you formed in the part I. Again, what does solve means? Means at the end of the day, I want to get x equals to something, a number. Sorry, not x. In this case, it's s, right? The letter s. S, the variable here is s. I want to solve for s. Essentially, asking you, what is the price of a skirt? What is s? Okay, to find the price of a skirt. So, yeah, if you have done this few steps here, you will have done half of it. Okay, so again, the first part is to rainbow your 8 into this, and then you have this expression here equals to 119. Then you have 1 mark. So we did what we did just now. Okay, 3s plus 8s gives us 11s equals to 319. How do I get 319? Right, if you stare carefully, you realize that what I did was to throw the minus 200 over. Okay, so when over this equal sign. So remember, when I throw across the equal sign, I need to change the sign. So therefore, 119 plus 200. Okay, so I'm gonna cancel this. This is 119 plus 200, which is 319. This is how they got 319. Okay, so from there, s equals to 319 over 11. That gives us 29. So therefore, there's something missing here. The price, pardon me, the price of a skirt is 29 bucks. Okay, so this is your final answer. Okay, now it is still doable. It's really doable. Really, you need to start breaking down the question bit by bit. Don't just quickly read through and start to blank. Start highlighting and start writing. Okay, moving on. So this is done with the algebra part. Okay, we're coming to the part on angles. Okay, so I think some of you, I would say most of you did this pretty well. Okay, for certain questions, there are more than one ways to do it, but I'm just gonna explain through one way. If you have done other methods and I've given you the mark, great, means your method also works, no problem. Okay, now let's dive into it. In the diagram, AB is parallel to CD. Please take note where are the two lines, okay, that this part is talking about. And EDC is 53 degrees. Now, I understand that some of you are still not familiar with this, how to write angles, how to show the examiner which angle you are pointing at, okay? But some of you, when I'm referring to this angle over here, you simply tell me angle D. Or even better, don't even tell me it's angle, just tell me it's D. No, that is absolutely wrong. D is a point. This is point D, okay? It's not an angle. To label an angle, to tell me which angle you're talking about, you use three alphabets to tell me. E, D, C. Why? Why do I need to do that? Because when you talk about D, I can also be referring to this angle. This angle is also D, right? You will have labeled D, this angle as D also. So please follow how I express things, how the question labels things. E, D, C. Very clear. E, D, C. I'm talking about this angle. No other angles. Very, very clear. Don't give examiner doubt. Okay? If not, you won't get the mark. So simple. Don't be lazy. Alright. So in this question, in this diagram, okay, I see two lines that are equal in length. So immediately I know that this is an isosceles triangle. Okay. Now you realize that I'm going into the diagram. What I'm doing here is I'm going into the diagram to write down as many things as I can get out of just looking at the diagram before I even go down and look at the question itself. Okay. Now, so what can we get from this diagram? Okay. Well, from these two lines, we know that this triangle is a isosceles triangle, and therefore this is also 53 degrees. I'll label as many as I can first. All right. Now, what else can I get out of this? Well, once I have these two angles, can I find this? Why not, right? Because the sum of angles in a triangle, okay, this angle here, let me just doodle by the side. I need another alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E. This is G, right? Okay, I think this is G. Now let me just name this point H then, okay, for convenience, right? Okay, so immediately I can get the angle over here. Angle EHD equals to 180 minus 53 degrees minus 53 degrees. That gives me 74 degrees. Okay, so immediately I got another piece of information. I don't know how many of you actually do this, like before you even read the question, go into the diagram and write down how much things, as many things as you can get, right? Okay, what else what other angles can I obtain? Well, this angle here, which is actually highlighted as part of the question, we know this angle here. So I'm gonna label this as, what angle am I gonna use? So what letters am I gonna use? D, H. Okay, I need another one. G, H, J. Okay, let me use J here. Now, of course, do remember, if your test paper or exam script, you're writing in the same booklet, as you're writing on the same page as the diagram itself, you can simply draw and label the letters on the diagram, but you need to do so. If not, letter J wasn't here to begin with. So if I write angle DHJ, the examiner would not know which one you're talking about. Okay, now if I don't want to use the, you know what, let's just add in, okay, letter J, just please annotate in the diagram so the examiner knows what you're talking about. Otherwise, you may not be given any mark because simply the examiner doesn't understand what you're writing. Okay, so this angle, green angle, DHJ, is 180 minus 74 degrees. That gives us 106 degrees. Okay. Now over here, you realize that I'm not giving the reasons. I'm not quoting any reasons because this is my rough working. Okay. Later on, if I really need to do this working in the answer, in my formal answer, I need to have the reasons. Don't forget. Okay. So I'm getting up more information. 106 degrees. What else? What else can I get? Okay. Now I move on to take a look at the two parallel lines over here. What can I get out of that information? Well, for starters, this angle x here is 106. Why? Because of corresponding angles. Yeah, because of corresponding angles, I know that this is 106. See, I already have one of the answer already before even reading the question because, well, they will definitely ask for what is x. Next, this is also 74 degrees because of corresponding angle. This angle and this angle is the same. They're both the same. Okay. Next, are there any angles that I can get? Well, this one, right? So this is angle HDB. Okay, 180 minus 53 degree. Now, notice up to now, I'm still not answering any question yet. Okay, so please be patient. You know, you should be doing this. So later, when you do your questions, it's way faster and way clearer. Okay, 180 minus 53, that is 127 degrees. Okay, 127 degrees. Let me write it down over here. Okay, are there any other things I can obtain? How about this? How can I obtain this angle? This is actually also 53 degrees. Why? Because of corresponding angle to this one. All right. Now, then I see that the question will definitely ask for this angle y here. This one we know, right? This guy is 360 degree minus 53. Okay, and you have 307. So you see, even before reading the question, I can get out so much information. Okay, please go and do what as I do, label the things in the diagram so that immediately, when we jump into the question, we know that we've already found the two answers. The only next thing to do then is to write it down properly with all the reasons that are necessary. Okay, so we are interested in finding angle y first. Okay, the answer started off with angle y over here. So how do we get this? Well, we took 360 minus 53. And how do we know this was 53? Because of corresponding angles, this guy. So let's just write down everything. Angle DB, angle EBA. So angle EBA, right? EBA. Please label it properly. EBA is 53 because of corresponding angles. Okay. So y is 360 degrees minus 53. What is the reason? Angles at a point. When I'm using a knowledge, right, of these angles to find another angle, I need to quote the reason. In this case, I know that this angle is 53 because of the knowledge of corresponding angles to this angle over here. Therefore, I will quote corresponding angles. Okay, I'll quote corresponding angles over here. Now, how do I find y? Is because I use the knowledge of 360 degrees. So I quote the reason angles at a point. Okay, now if you didn't write the reason, I'll have deducted marks, even though your answer is correct. So it's really not worth it. Please remember to quote the reasons. Next, we are done with y. Now is x. Where is x? X is over here, right? Our guy over here, x. And we already have the number, okay? So how do we get 106? Well, we got 106 because of this guy, corresponding angle. All right, and how do we get this 106 here? Because of 74. right? Angles at a point, adjacent angles on a straight line. Sorry. And how do we get 74? In turn was because of this isosceles triangle. Okay, so we work backwards, yeah. So we kind of retrace back our steps, right? 106 comes from this. This 106 comes from this. This 74 comes from these two guys. Okay, so I'm working backwards. So I'm writing um the working forward. Yeah. Okay. So DFG equals to 53 plus 53 equals to 106. Okay, quite interesting. How did they do this part? Okay, I'm going to erase everything. Okay, rewind the video to get the answer. Okay. This was H, this was J. Okay. Now, um, the question did this. Sorry, the solution did this. DFG. DFG. Okay, so we're referring to this particular angle here. DFG. Oh, they actually gave a letter already. So instead of H, I can simply use F. Okay. Now, DFG is, what is the reason here? They gave exterior angle of triangle. Now, do you remember this trick here? This angle is the sum of this one plus this one. Okay, and we already know that this is 53 degrees because of isosceles triangle, right? Okay, so they use this result to get 106, and we have x already. X is corresponding to angle DFG. So therefore, x equals to 106 corresponding angles. Okay, not too difficult, not too difficult. Yeah. So we are done with x and y. So what is the trick here? What's the trick? What's my expert tip for you? When you come to this kind of questions, first thing to do, of course, read the prompt over here. Know which are the straight lines, which lines are parallel. Take note of them. The next thing is I will go straight into the diagram to start to find out what are the angles over here. Okay, start to find out, calculate all the angles that I can calculate. Right. Once I'm done, essentially if I can find all these angles, all my questions should be answered already. Then the only difference then is later you need to fill in the reasons. Yeah, done. Okay, so I hope this explanation is clear enough. I hope you go back and revise, especially on the algebra parts. All these things are really free marks, really free marks. Okay, so please revise. Okay, if you want to know how to better study for this, please kind of look for me personally, because everybody's studying style is different. I will make recommendations accordingly. All right, if not, I'll see you on the next video for the next chapter. Take care.